All right, I think we're going now. Hello and welcome again, everybody, to our Revolution Washington Bernie-Kratz Coalition. We are with Kathryn Lewandowsky tonight. She is running for state senate in Washington State, of course, in LD 39. Welcome, Kathryn.
Hi, thank you. I very much appreciate you having me here tonight. I've been so eager to meet with you guys, and it's just been hard to connect. So
I'm sure it's been crazy out there.
yeah.
So one of the things we first like to kind of talk about is just about your district in general, kind of what it's made up of, and then the people in it, if you can elaborate kind of what the makeup is overall.
Well, my district is pretty rural, actually. A lot of farmlands, a lot of farmers. So it's kind of on the red side, although it's kind of changing demographically a little bit because there's been a lot of more things like apartments. So there's a lot more younger people moving out into the area because it costs a little bit less than living in the big cities and stuff. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But typically, it's been a very red district with mostly rural people. It extends. It's kind of from Lake Stevens and Monroe and Arlington, and then skirts around Mount Vernon and goes up to Cedar-Woolley, and then head to the Skagit County line and heads east to Chelan County. And then all the way down, takes in a little bit of a chunk of King County with Skykomish, another real small town, but you can only get to it, I think, from Highway 2. So it's very, very country out here, which is why I love it.
How's it been? I mean, can't really get out these days. How has it been campaigning virtually in your district?
Yeah, that's it. There's been a lot of like Zoom meetings and things like that. Yeah, I haven't gone out. I personally can't really go out and do any personal campaigning or things like that because I am a nurse and I kind of take care of some vulnerable people. So I don't want to risk that at all. So it's been mostly online. Um, I feel like we have a really, really strong like League of Women Voters up here and lots of different groups. So there's been lots of opportunities to do a lot of online campaigning and stuff. So that's been
Oh,
good.
that's great to hear. Yeah, I'm really happy to see the League of Women Voters really just delving into it. I mean, they've been doing good throughout the years, but this year I've noticed like popping up in areas that I hadn't seen them really be active before. So it's
Yeah.
helpful for sure. All right. So thank you for telling us a bit about your district. One of the things that we really look at and work on here is anti-corruption and election reform. So I'd like to kind of ask you, first, I guess, about your financing. How are you fundraising? Are you taking any big corporate donors? And if so, who are they? Or are you, what's your plan? How has that been going?
My fundraising's not going very well. I've pretty much been fundraising. I've had like maybe one donation, a couple $100 of donations. I don't intend to take any from any corporate donors, and I even actually um, a couple groups of the Democratic Party wanted to give me money, and I just really didn't want to take any of their money either. So because I also feel like we need to get the money out of our politics. And that's kind of one of the things on my back burner that I really want to push for. Obviously, I'm a nurse. I'm working hard for Medicare for all, but um, I would love to see publicly funded elections. And I had this really nice little bill that I worked on with some people on the East Coast with the Green Party a couple years ago. And I just think it could be done statewide just as easily as it could be done nationally. So I would love to work on something like that at the state level and give the opportunity for regular people to be represented, to be representing all of us down in Olympia rather than people that are beholden to special interests.
Oh, that would be nice. And yes, thank you for that. Um, Another way to help break open that barrier to other, regular folks is like a ranked choice voting system. What do you think about ranked choice voting or a star voting system? Type of system. Would you be open to working on something like that when you're in the
Oh,
legislature?
yeah, definitely. Since 2016, I did a lot of trying to understand ranked choice voting and some of the different voting systems out there. And I've tried to follow what Maine has been doing, and I think they're just like an awesome leader on showing how ranked choice voting can work. I love the proportional representation, so that even smaller people points of view can still have some representation in our legislature. So we shouldn't be stuck in the past and having to live with systems that worked maybe 250 years ago or longer. We need to like look at systems that can really work and actually create a true democracy for our people. So
Beautiful. Fair Vote Washington. I don't know if you've done it or not yet, but they do a pledge or some sort of a endorsement that you can do for ranked choice voting. So if you haven't yet, go to their website because they'll list you on there too. It just helps get your name out there even more. Just to let you know.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. So you've already kind of mentioned it, but yeah, it's a big one for us as well. Healthcare. So you already know about whole Washington, so we don't have to update you too much about that, but I'll let you take this opportunity to talk about healthcare, what it means to you, and what your kind of thoughts and plans are in the Senate once you're able to be in there.
right. Yeah, so I'm a registered nurse. I have been for 30 years, 30 plus years here in Washington, and healthcare is very important to me. And honestly, I really thought that we were advancing, and I really had high hopes that Obamacare would do better. And when you start looking at the statistics, it's not worked at all. We just really need to get to a single payer universal health care plan. We need to get all of our people covered with insurance. They need to be able to go to the doctor when they need to. The frustrating thing for me is I have to say that fiscally, I'm a conservative. I hate wasting money. And in healthcare, we waste so much money trying to put out forest fires. And we haven't done anything to keep the little tiny campfires down. It is just incredible the amount of money we waste by denying people the ability to go to the doctor and the ability to have their routine medications to control their blood pressure and their diabetes or whatever. And then we wait until it's a gigantic crisis. And then I don't know why, out of guilt, we just start throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at things that could have been taken care of so easily 2 years before if they could have just gone to the doctor. So there's just so much to save and the ability to keep our people healthier and more productive. So healthcare is my priority. I, have been very active with Whole Washington, and I totally intend to go in there with a lot of the other people that are going to be elected. We have a lot of strong people, I believe, that are going to be elected into our state legislature, and we need to get Senate Bill 5222 reintroduced, get a companion bill in the House, and we need to start fighting to get this done. The corporations are not going to do it for us. Our paid politicians are not going to do it for us. So we've got to get regular people in there fighting for us. If they were going to do it, it would have happened by now. And we can't do it anymore. The pandemic has totally shown how our healthcare system is broken, and we need to just go in and fix it ourselves.
Since you know so much about this bill and been working on this for a while, do you want to just delve into a little bit of what it is so people who may not have heard about it yet, especially maybe up in your area, so they get kind of an idea and might encourage them to go further into.
Sure. Senate Bill 52 creates the whole Washington Healthcare Trust. And it basically, instead of us taking all of our healthcare premiums and giving it to a for-profit insurance company, we'll take all of that money, although less, and put it into a healthcare trust. And then all of our healthcare needs will be taken care of out of that trust. So by one, taking care of our people earlier, we can save money. Two, by taking the profit motive out of that the healthcare industry, the health insurance industry has been just skimming off the top of our healthcare dollars. We can save so much money. We did a funding study and we showed how we can save our state $9 billion a year. That pretty much covers all of the current budget cuts that they're considering because of the COVID crisis. So, so we can do this, and we can do it now. Originally, Senate Bill 5222 would have taken like 2 years to implement, or but I believe that we can do this emergently. We need to do this emergently if we're going to come out of this crisis. So that's what I intend to do.
Thank you very, very much. I really wanted to make sure we got people to understand how much that would impact us getting that implemented here in Washington State. So hopefully we encourage people to go check it out and get more involved in that. I wanted to open it up to, and I think Oz and Lael possibly have some questions, and I know Sharon popped in with one as well. Do one of you guys want to go?
Ladies first.
Okay, I'll go. I'll try my hand at this. Hi, Kathryn.
Hello.
I wonder about, as we all know, there are health impacts of climate change and environmental degradation, and what in your district would be, people in your district would be their main concerns. Do they have any, and what are yours, and how do you see you might address those issues in the legislature?
Well, I do believe that we're going to have big problems with our climate change. And I want to say that I am not an expert on climate change. I try to go as often as I can to my 350 Everett meetings, and I swear I've learned so much from them, but I am not an expert. But one of the things I've learned from going to their meetings is there are a lot of experts out there, and they have a lot of answers. The thing about climate change is that we don't have a choice. We're going to have to make decisions regarding climate change that a lot of people are not going to be happy with, but we don't have a choice if we're going to guarantee, a livable planet. And if we don't do that, then everything else we do is for naught. So we have to be willing to look at the science and listen to the experts and make the tough choices that are going to have to be made. And there's going to be some losers when it comes to climate change. And there isn't anything that we can do about that, because we have to look at the big picture and what is going to best guarantee a livable planet for the human race. And personally, I really feel like we need to have a lot more of working in coalition with our Native communities, because honestly, they are the only people that I see that are actually out there fighting for our Mother Earth. And we need to be following their lead, in my opinion.
Awesome, excellent, thank you. Do you, I'm sure that you have stronger environmental positions than your opponent. Do you think you'll be able to make inroads with other than with the Native communities and coalition? Do you think you'll be able to make inroads with any of the?
I hope so. One of with a lot of the farmers and stuff, a lot of their issues are they want to keep control of like water rights and things like that. And so there is some battling going on. We kind of have to look at things like the water quality and water rights, as we have to look at what benefits everybody, because we can't doom any one segment of our society to death or to poisonous water just in order to protect another segment. It's got to be balanced. It has to be balanced. So.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, Oz or Sharon? I think
All
I
right.
said ladies first, so I think it's you, Sharon.
I guess that includes me. Okay. Who are you calling a lady? Okay. So yeah, what's the most effective thing or things we can do at this point to help get you elected?
Boy, since I'm new at this, it's kind of hard. Maybe should be asking you that. What do I need to do to get elected? I know we need to like share, but I also feel like really we're at the point now where we need to get people out there, maybe at the corners and throwing, waving some signs and things like that. I really think that socially distancing while we do that, but I really think that we need to spend the next month working really heavy on that, and just kind of go from there. And it's only a month. That's the one thing that's kind of nice. It's only
I
a month.
know it feels like forever, right?
Yeah.
But just but the thing I'm wondering, because I don't live in I'm up on Orcas Island. Are there postcards I could mail? Is there going to be phone banking, that sort of thing that I could do from up here?
Well, I think there's going to be phone banking through Our Revolution, hopefully, if I can get your endorsement. I checked out the postcard thing, and I honestly, I don't have the money so I kind of haven't been able to pursue that, although I wish that I could, but I don't.
Do you have mailers? Do you have any mailers that are going to go out right before the election?
No.
Do you need money?
I don't have the money for that, so I haven't pursued it. So
yeah, I think it'd be have some kind of a mailer, some kind of a mailer go out right before the election.
Right now, all of my money is tied up in an adult family home, and I can't and I can't do that. I just
we need to get her some funds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, not from I meant from donations.
Donations,
yeah. But currently I'm thinking actually, there's not enough time. There's not enough time. I think we just need to like continue to spread the word on social media and get some people out there waving signs. There is only just a month left, and I don't want to waste my time trying to spend a bunch of money that probably I just think we need to get people out there and continue to spread the word.
Well, yeah, I would like to continue spreading the word on social media. In fact, I'd like to, have just something that I can just tweet out and post on Facebook. I'm a member of Our Revolution Washington, and here are the candidates I would love for people to support and vote for if they live in that district. And just keep posting that every few days for the
We'll have all those beautiful things to share out from Our Revolution standpoint, but anything that our candidates that we endorse post, we do want to get groups to try to help really boost those out for sure.
Right.
Anything else, Sharon?
No, I'm good for now.
All right, Oz, you're up.
Hi, Kathryn. How are you this evening?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Out of this world. I'm looking at this campaign like I do many of other populist progressives out there. And I have a question. Do you recognize these people in the background?
Oh, definitely. Love those people.
Who are those people?
National Nurses United.
All right. This is the thing. I don't believe the person you're running against would recognize those people. I love these ladies. I love all the ladies that are for Medicare for all. And I think that in this time, especially in pandemic, that, Medicare for all, universal health care is the most important issue next to a UBI type of boost to our social safety net. Do you agree with that statement?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. The frustrating thing for me is, and I'm definitely supporter of voting for Joe Biden for president, but I'm very disappointed that he's not getting behind that. And so that's why I feel it's so important that we work on it. So put so much effort at the state level of getting a Medicare for all type plan at the state level in any number of states that are able to do that. And there are several. We are not the only state that's capable of doing that, because our national leaders are not picking up the banner, and so, but if we can get a state to do it and do it well, it'll be like dominoes, and they won't be able to deny us any longer. So that's the one thing that I'm very disappointed in the Biden-Harris campaign. So
Yeah, that's the downside. Once again, I'll refer to these ladies and you and everybody in this group, I think, National Nurses United, Medicare for All. This is our future. This is our healthy future if we choose to take that path. If we continue on the path we are with things like greenwashing and supporting a candidate just because he's not as bad as the other one,
right.
that's not going to do the type of good we need that we'll get through from a Medicare for all plan or a system, universal health care. I'm hoping that you, along with all those running on the platform of Medicare for All, think about continuing fighting for Medicare for All when you win office or if you have to try again. Can we count on you for that?
Definitely. And I think we need to remember that it's expanded and improved Medicare for all. So it isn't Medicare as you know it. There will be no need for any supplemental plans. There'll be, much better coverage, and everybody will be covered. And I guess one of the things that I kind of want to say, it occurred to me a few weeks ago while getting ready for some other candidate forums. A lot of seniors are like, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do to protect the seniors and that kind of stuff? And I just want to say to a lot of the seniors out there is that I hope and I pray that they will actually take a look at who they're voting for, because we need to start voting for candidates. Yes, the seniors have a lot of needs and we need to take care of their needs. But I believe that it's my children and even my grandchildren that are getting kind of lost. They're not getting the support that they need. And so they don't have the ability, not financially, not time-wise, to do the things that they would love to do in helping to take care and to provide the services that their parents and their grandparents need. But they're stuck. They're paying 50% of their income to try to find, for a place to live. They have nothing but gig jobs that provide them no benefits. And I think the seniors need to really start looking at how can we decrease that income inequality and raise the standard of living to for the middle class for their children and grandchildren. And that's the only way that they're going to be able to get the things that they need also, is to have their kids be able to have a better livelihood and to get rid of it. Because those 462 people, they don't really care about what your needs are. They really don't. It's your children that would love to provide more if they could. So we need to help make it so that they can.
Okay, thank you so much. And I just want to say to everybody watching this presentation, vote for the nurse, Kathryn Lewandowski. Vote for the nurse, because the nurse is going to take care of you. Period.
Right.
Nobody else will.
And who better during a pandemic? I mean, come on.
Right.
Talking about, I guess, pandemic and all of that great stuff and all the changes. So education, let's talk a little bit about education and here in Washington State. What's your thoughts about what you can do to help?
Well, I know there's a lot of issues with education. What with the McCleary issue and all of that. And through all of this, I kind of let my point of view get out. I don't know if it's the best point of view or not, but it is my point of view. And the fact that it seems to me there's a couple of issues. One, I think that all children deserve to have the same level of education as any other child. And I know, I remember one time I accidentally made a wrong turn in Bellevue and was like, is that a school? I've never seen a school look quite like that. None of the schools I grew up in looked like that. So depending on where you live, you're going to get a very different level of education. And I just feel that our school districts need to be funded more equitably and equally. The money, it should be based on the number of children and providing the same level of education to every child. And I really feel there's a lot of wasted time and energy that goes into the whole uh, local levy and bond issues stuff for education. And I just feel like you have people in different districts that are they're spending a lot of their time, and it really should just be across the board even. It should be funded at the state level, and all children in every corner of the state should be taken care of equally, because there could be any child in any of those poorer districts could be the one that comes up with the solution to whatever our climate problem is. We just need to give them the opportunity equally. Okay.
I like that answer. Thank you. That was good. All right. So another big thing, and I know that homelessness, houselessness, income inequality, and people are, I mean, it's, how is your district? I mean, what's the population there like with homelessness? I mean, I know it's, your district.
Well, it's an issue. We have a lot of people who are homeless. I have a lot of people that are come to the hospital that I work at, and we're discharging them to their vehicle. They don't have a home to go to. And it takes quite a while for them to get assistance with housing and stuff. So that is all definitely a big problem, one that we just really need to work on. And I'm sorry, I just really feel that the money that we can save with healthcare could help to alleviate so many of those other problems. We can take back those profits from our health insurance industry and give them back to the people and try to lift everybody out of poverty. So.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else have anything else to add or another question to put in? There's Sharon.
I don't really have another question right now. I just I'm thinking.
We've hit on a lot of our topics. Broadband, would you, oh, sorry, go ahead, Sharon. I'll bring in the broadband after. Go ahead.
That's a good issue too.
Yeah.
Some of us are working to push back against the military in our state and trying to prevent it from getting more power, and trying to suggest to the societal consciousness that there might be other kinds of jobs that would be more life affirming and healthy for people on the planet. And we're so dependent on military jobs in our state, as is every state. And that's no accident. So just to, I'm not saying that you should have an answer to this right now, but just something for you to maybe think about, and I'd be happy to talk with you about this more, is how can we introduce just transition programs to transition people working in our state from industries that are not sustainable, not good for people, not good for the planet, to jobs that really are good for people and good for the planet. And we could, in my opinion, based on what I know, we could be creating a lot of those jobs in our state, but we lack the political will and the vision to do that. So, just thinking about, we want to create jobs in our state, and so many of the candidates are campaigning on jobs. What kind of jobs might you be able to get behind and promote, and how might you be instrumental in actually pushing for just transition programs in our state?
Well, I guess that's probably another thing that I'm not an expert on, but I can tell you, if you want a job, I've got a job for you as a caregiver. because
There
there's
was a
not
whole
enough
there was a whole
caregivers out
webinar.
there.
Yeah, were you
But
on that webinar? There was a whole webinar. I think it was actually on the East Coast, but there was a whole webinar about just transition for to becoming caregivers because caregivers are so needed.
right, right, and they're going to be
Has to be a
more
clean
needed
job.
as the silver tsunami explodes. So yeah, there are and I totally get what you're saying. It's so sad and more sickening to when I to find out that my country is like the worst producer of weapons. That's like our main export is weaponry, and we're supposed to be a country that talks about peace and prosperity, and everybody has the right to, to try to have the best life possible, and yet we're promoting war everywhere else in the world, and we just really need to change that. We need to start standing up behind our words and making, yeah. So I get
And
it.
promote alternatives. And I actually know some veterans that would be useful to talk with
Right.
that would speak very powerfully to this.
Some of the other alternatives too, though, I think is there's so many advances in food production and things like that, and being able to provide food. I think that a lot of jobs can come from that. Even like when you look at what they're doing organically or within greenhouses and things like that, making it a whole lot easier. When I look at the programs on how to farm rather than backbreaking work in the dirt and having things more done in a greenhouse. I think that would help to create too with keeping the food supply more local. So I think there's lots of potential for that kind of
Yeah, how
work
can we
with
extend our
people.
growing season and use regenerative agriculture
Right, right,
and get more energy efficient across the board? We could be creating tons of jobs.
right,
Hemp,
right.
hemp alone, bringing that in and making that a,
Definitely. And the other thing I really think is, well, I really think we need to pursue hemp a lot because I don't care. I'll probably lose all the logging voters, but we need to stop logging so many trees. And there's so many other things that we could use to like hemp to replace what we're using trees for. When
but
you
that can be part of a retraining process as well, right?
yeah, we need to like really start taking care of, I think, um our forests in a more, we're not doing it well at all. So
I
Excellent.
just read I was just in the process of reading a great article that my partner recommended to me by Charles Eisenstein called World on Fire. Talks a lot about the forests and what is causing a lot of the forests to catch fire other than, besides human activity, but what makes them such tinder.
right,
And I'm going to put that link in the chat because I just think we need to really be educating ourselves about these
right,
fires, how we can prevent them, how we can do actual sustainable forestry.
right. So
Excellent. Thank you, Sharon. So yeah, let's get to talking about like broadband, or, making sure that everybody is able to connect to the world, because especially now with COVID, and a lot of businesses not operating as planned, and there are a lot that cannot do online, but, and because they don't have the access, to a good stable internet to be able to continue their business. What are your thoughts about like utilities, like making it a general utility, and um, is it something that we can, as possible in the legislature at some point? How would you feel about that?
making broadband a utility, I think it needs to be, it's going to end up having to be a basic utility. And even some of our other utilities that I always thought were public, and they're not publicly owned, they're privately owned, and for profit. And so unfortunately, a lot of people are experiencing that they're, that they aren't getting any leniency from their their utility department, and they're having their utilities shut off and stuff. And you just can't do that in a pandemic. So we do need to have a lot more oversight from our government officials on those kind of issues. And I really don't feel that for-profit entities for those basic needs are the way to go. It just is pretty, well, it just doesn't work.
Kind of like the for-profit insurance industries
Yeah,
for basic needs of our health.
yeah, yeah, right.
Is there
Well,
much anymore that isn't privatized? Not really.
yeah, I know, yeah. All of these things, when they supposedly took them out of public control, like the phone company and all that stuff, it was supposed to reduce the cost, and I don't know that it's reduced the cost at all, you know, like it was supposed to. So
Well, I think if it was distributed like it was supposed to instead of monopolized, it might have
mhm,
possibly, but who knows?
right.
Oh, all right. So within your district and when you have been talking to your constituents and stuff like that, and if we haven't discussed it already, I want you to be able to do this here of any things that you've heard of that, you know, that's on your platform that we haven't touched on.
Uh, I'm trying to think, I'm sorry. And I think on my platform, I've been trying to focus mostly on the Medicare for all, the um, um, the climate issues, and then getting the money out of politics. Those are my three big issues. I know there's tons more issues out there that we need to work on and stuff. And one of the things that why I think that I'm a good candidate for that is I feel like with my nurses training, I've learned to like look at the whole picture. Like you look at the whole body and see what the issues are. So you have to look at the whole picture. You have to decide what the treatment is going to be. And then after you do it, you have to evaluate it and look and see if it's working and be willing to do something different if it's not working, because not all human bodies are the same, and they don't necessarily react to the same treatment the same. So you always have to be willing to look at and evaluate what's going on and be willing to change directions and do something different if what you're doing isn't working. And I think that's an important thing. I see them getting locked into, or legislatures getting locked into things, and nobody's willing to turn back or say, no, this isn't working, so you have to do that.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I love the way that you assess these situations
Right.
as a nurse. It makes
Right.
total sense. Lael has her hand up. Lael?
Oh, thanks. What about how concerned are your constituents about issues around policing and incarceration?
Well, I think it's a big issue because
And guns.
we have my constituents want to be able to carry their guns, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I do believe they have the right to do that. I do believe we need to have common sense gun reform, to be honest. We have a prison out here in Monroe, and so the policing and the prison system, I think, is very important to them, and people like in that area, they want to be safe in their homes and that kind of stuff. And we even had an issue not very when the person I'm running against came in where there was a female guard who was murdered at the prison. So one of his very first bills that he put forth was to try to require the death penalty for any prisoner who commits murder in the prison. Well, I suppose that's probably, I think it's a little bit short-sighted personally. I honestly, and I think I got chastised a little bit because somebody said, you want to put more money into the prison system? Well, not necessarily more money, but I feel like we need better staffing. If you are going to have people in prison, Right now, I think a lot of the people in prison shouldn't be in prison. It's a whole different group of people that should be in prison. you know, so if they want people in prison, but for the people
Right.
who work there, they need to have better staffing. And so you can add better staffing without adding more money by just getting rid of some upper administrators that don't add anything to the safety of an institution.
Right.
If you don't have enough people to where the people working there feel safe and feel like they can do an adequate job, then murdering, putting to death somebody who murders somebody in prison, it doesn't fix the problem at all. It does not fix the problem. It just ignores the problem. So I think that we can come up with better solutions than that,
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we've been on for a good long chunk. I want to give you again just this last opportunity to make sure you say anything you'd like to say. Make sure that that everybody hears your message, and then let them know where how to get a hold of you, and then we'll put this out for a vote. And if you're endorsed, we will be doing phone bankings on Tuesdays and Saturdays. They're on our Facebook, but also on Mobilize. We'll send those out so people know how to help out. Also, we'll put in here the link to your donation link. So when I put everything in, you can find it in the link of this video, but anything we share out too, we'll make sure we add that on there. So we can, we need some donations for Kathryn. I'll say that anyway, whether everybody votes to get you in or not. Please donate. Kathryn's doing great work. Oh, real quick before we get that final word from you, your opponent. Can you just talk just a little bit? And also, we didn't even mention at the beginning, you're running as through the Progressive Party of Washington. So let's talk about just a little bit of that, of your party status and kind of your opponent a little bit before we end.
Right. I'm running with the Washington Progressive Party. I've been really impressed with them. I was considering running as an independent because I just have problems with the whole two-party system. I think that's one of our major problems. And but when I was talking to people initially, running with a certain party does give everybody a chance to know where I lie in my beliefs. And I've been really impressed with the Washington Progressive Party. They're really trying to work for the progressive ideals and get everybody on the same page. And they're all just very young and exciting and working really hard. So that's been a good thing. And and you can, I wish I knew off the top of my head their website, but you can Google Washington Progressive Party and find their website and join their meetings. I think their meetings are on Thursday nights, and they're just a great group of people. So that are pushing the progressive point of view. So and then and I just want to say that I think my campaign, along with, because I do feel so important about Medicare for all, but the other thing is my campaign, we really want to try to push for regular people to be able to go down to Olympia and represent the people. And that's just really, really important. So I want to go down there and do whatever I can to continue that and to make it easier for people to run for office. And not difficult. So you can go to my Facebook page at Kathryn, Kathryn for WALD 39, and you can get information there. You can go to my website at Kathryn 4, number 4, Kathryn, Kathryn, and the number 4, Senate.com. Or you can send me an email at Kathryn, Kathryn. Let me think about this. For the number 4, WALD 39 at protonmail.com, and shoot me an email. So, all right.
Yeah, we'll add those out as we're posting, so everybody can get a hold of you. And
Okay.
thank you for stepping up as a regular person living in Washington State, wanting to have a voice for the people. So thank you, and thank everybody for watching again. And we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you.